Assalamualaikum. Basement part 3. We have gone through in basement part 1 the types of excavation, open cut, cut and cover, top down and composite methods. And in basement part 2 we have gone through the types of retaining wall, secant pile, contiguous block pile, sheet piling, soldier pile. Now we go through on the dewatering system as well as the waterproofing system for basement. So dewatering system commonly used in Malaysia, we have sump pump and well point system. The sump pump looks something like this. You have the sump, the box, this is the box. The box is called sump. And this is the trench. Of course, on the trench you have the gradient so that the water flows straight to the sump. And on the sump, they will have a pump. Each of the sump, they will have a pump. So you can have a pump like this, or you may have a bigger pump. It depends on the site. This is, the concept is similar to drainage system. If you look at the drain around your area, you will see the road drainage, and then you can see a sump. Macam kotak besar, and you can actually see, and normally they put iron grating on it so that people don't fall inside. This is second example of sump. So it's not really clear here, but you can see the trench and the sump. A sump is constructed to collect the groundwater, providing a suitable depth for pump to work in. Like previous pump, when I, they use the one that, they insert diesel on that pump. But now I've seen that some sites, they have used the new versions of pump where, even with a low level of water, they can still suck the water out. The depth of the sump may exceed 7.5 meters, so it's pretty dangerous. So if you go to the site for practical, if you have the system being adopted by your sites, please be careful. Normally they will put the cautions tape, and they will tell you, but there are always risks. The water pumped out must be directed away from the site. Well point system, this is the second system. Well point system is where you have holes around the basement area. So normally the holes between the first and the second, between the holes, the distance is about 1.5 meter. And can you see the rod? Yeah. So this rod is what they call inside the rod, and underneath dekat hujung pangkal tu, they have the well point system where they have the filters and device. And once they start the pump, then the water will be sucked out from this hole to the connecting pipe, and the big pipe here, we call them the ring pipe. Okay, so the water will flow from the ground underground through the connecting pipe and through the main and away from the site. This is another example. You can see that the pump here is pretty big because they just use one pump to suck water from the perimeter of the basement area. So you can see the connecting pipe and the ring pipe. It's the same thing. And this one is a bit clear. So it's the same thing as well. That's the well point, and you have the connecting pipe and the ring pipe. And this is the basement where you can see the contiguous block pile as well around. Yeah, and attach the ring pipe on the contiguous block pile. A well point system is more effective method as compared to others, but it depends, like I said, it depends on the site. It may not be effective for another site. This system requires a small device called well point, the rod at the end of the rod, and they will be forced into the ground using water jet. This is called jetting. The well points are jetted into the ground. But they make holes. They can make holes first using the water jet. Water jets, they use machine, something like a boring machine as well, but they use water, like high pressure of water, and to insert the rod. Propose excavation to a depth of 5 to 6 meters. The well points are placed about 1.5 and are linked together by a ring main connected to a pump. I've showed you the pictures. As the well point is jetted in, length of the pipes are attached to it until the required depth is reached. The same thing, when the suction pump is started, water is sucked through the well point, drawn out, and screens out fine materials, because at the end, like I said, they have a device, they have the filters, so they will screen out fine materials, pasir ke apa ke. The pump must kept running continuously to keep water out of the excavation throughout the work. To increase the depth of the dewatering, a two-stage installation can be employed. Two-stage means you have layers. The first layer will be about what does it say, about 5-6 meters, and then they will have like the second stage, macam tangga, to the lower level. So this is a diagram of well point system. This is the ring. You know, by pointing out now, this is the ring, the main ring, and you have the rod for well point system. This is the connecting rod. They call it bending connection tubes, connecting rods, connecting pipes, and that's the pump. And the pump will suck the water out to away from the site. Okay, so let's look at the system. So this is a typical system well point. They have different kinds of products. You may find slightly different system inside. So this one, they have the ball valve, and they may have the screener, they have the filter. Right, basement waterproofing. I'm not going to talk in depth about basement waterproofing because it's just the same as waterproofing of what you have learned in building construction. I think maybe part 2, part 3, you have learned about waterproofing. So waterproofing for basement structures, you can have the membrane system, integral system, or cavity system. Membrane system provides physical barrier, forming a tanking system, either sheet membranes or liquid membranes or both. They are preformed, the sheet ones, they are preformed, factory made in roll. So bila dia lap, when they laid it on the floor normally, they will have the lappings. Antara the first sheets and the second sheets, they will have about 100 to 150 mm lapping. Lapping, when you lap, you need to glue or you need to seal them so that the water wouldn't able to seep through the laps. So they can torch, or they can use self-adhesive membranes, or you can use the glue. Liquid membranes comes in either 1 or 2 components in liquid or gel form. They are applied either by brush, roller, or spray. Flexibility, even uneven surface, and complicated. What it's saying here is, if you have uneven surface or you have spaces which are not easy for you to, measure and cut the sheets, so it's better for you to use the liquid. So you can go to the narrow spaces and you can just paint it over. Whereas if you use sheet membranes, if you ask me what's the difference between sheet membranes and the liquid membranes, can you use both of them together? Yes, of course, you can use the liquid one first, and then you do the screening. I've seen this. They use the liquid one first, especially at the high risk of water penetration. They use the liquid first, and then they do the screening. And on top of the screening, they will put the the sheet membranes. So that's like double protection of the surface of the structure or of the space. Okay. Normally, kalau liquid, you will have to take more time, because for the liquid, when you brush the first layer, you have to wait for it to dry before you can apply for the second one. And normally for liquid waterproofing, they normally do it like 2-3 layers. Kalau membrane is just like one layer, that's it. Okay, so it cut the time short. As far as I know, sheet membranes are more expensive because they do more work, because it's more strength, it's more durable as compared to the liquid one. This is what I understand from the waterproofing aspect. Right, so this is how they torch, they bakar the bituminous or whatever materials they use for the waterproofing. So this is a high flame, the torch, and bila dia macam mana tu dia lembik, what's the word? When it melts, then it's easy for them to just paste. It becomes glue to the surface. This is overlapping, if you can see. Ni ada overlap about 100 to 150. It has to be lapped. Even this one, you can see the lapping here. So this is self-adhesive. The same thing, they have the lapping on the floor, and this is on the wall. Self-adhesive means membrane already have the glue at the back. So you just pull out the thin layers of glue protection and macam wallpaper lah, and then you can just glue it on the wall or on the floor. This is by rolling or spraying method using the liquid waterproofing system. This one using spray, and this one they use the roller and scraper, and this one, because it's the waterproofing type is cementitious, so they just apa tu macam plastering. So this is how they do on the wall. You have learned this. I'm sure you have learned this in building construction, previous building construction. So this is for the wall and this is for the floor. And at the corner, they will definitely have a thicker waterproofing, or they will overlap like really high here, and they will have overlapping here. And again, they will pay extra attention at the corner because the loads and water penetrate to the connection very easily because you have connection here. Okay. I always ask my student, what do you understand? What's the difference between DPC and DPM? These student bagi jawapan macam-macam. DPM on the wall lah, DPM on the floor lah, and then it got mixed. The easiest way, this is the easiest way. I'm not saying this is the right way. This is the easiest way for you to remember. If we say DPM means damp proof membrane. Membrane normally comes in sheets, although you have the liquid. So membrane, it's easy for you to just lay it on the floor. Macam carpet, you just tebarkan on the floor. So it's easy for you to remember that way. DPM is on the floor, whereas DPC, normally spraying method, or you use the roller and you just roll it on the wall because it's not easy for you to paste sheets on the wall. It takes more time, it takes more energy to do that. That's the easiest. So DPM on the wall, DPC course on the wall. But actually, they call it DPC, kat sini ada tulisan DPC, because our wall is normally constructed by using bricks. So in between the bricks, you have the course, the mortar. Okay, so that's why it's called DPC, because each of the layers, bila you belajar brickworks, also last semester, I think, you would have layers of DPC to protect water from penetrating from the ground to your structure and above. Okay. Integral system. Integral system, you have also learned this in building materials where you add mixtures with waterproofing properties in the concrete mix. They have two types of integral waterproofing system. One is hydrophilic, where they use crystallization technology, and the other one is hydrophobic. They use ingredients like silica fumes, fatty acids to block the pores within the concrete, preventing water to pass through. The the pores ataupun lubang-lubang kat dalam konkrit tu, it will be blocked either by the crystals or by the reactive hydrophobic ingredients. Drain cavities. I like drain cavities because I think this is brilliant. This method provides an excellent barrier to moisture by allowing moisture that has passed through the structural wall to drain down within a cavity formed between the inner face of the structural wall and inner non-loading bearing walls. Apa point ni tengah cakap ni, it's quite long. So what it's saying is here, you have another layer. Let's see if I have a picture. Yeah, like this. You have a layer on the wall. Ni you punya wall mana? Okay, let's say this is your concrete wall. And you have this layer. Can you see? This is what they call the cavity system. So bila air masuk through this, then it will drop. It will just flow. Dekat sini dia tu meleleh and it will go to the floor trap, or they have like a small sump on the floor. And the same thing they put on the floor. So all the water will get in this small cups, and then it will be collected on by using this closed drainage system, and will be collected. It will flow out from the building. Nampak tak ni macam floor trap, and out from the building. So they use it both on the wall and floor. And on top of this system, they will have the finishes. Sekejap. Let's go back. The inner wall is built of a floor covering of special triangular precast concrete tiles. This is like, you may have different products, like I said, but this is another way. They have floor tiles, and underneath the floor tiles, they have some like shapes which allows the moisture from the cavity to flow away under the tiles to a sump. Can you see the sump? So, bila air naik from the ground, let's say air dah terlepas, waterproofing, and underneath the tiles, they have like triangular, and it will, they have the gradient, and the water will flow to the sump, and from the sump, it will be channeled out from the building. Now, simplest way to explain to my student is, I'm sure all of you have been to public toilets, dekat Petronas, whereas dekat supermarkets. When you go to the public toilet, on the floor, normally diorang letak yang macam lubang-lubang tu, perasan tak? It's like, I couldn't Google now because I don't know what's the name of the thing. It's like a rubber plastic hose. Bila you masuk bilik air, normally bila you step on it, dia macam getah. Kalau you tak tahu, pergilah Petronas sebelum pukul 7 dia tutup, pergi tandas dia dekat supermarket, you can see normally on that. Why do they put that? Because bila you spray air banyak mana pun, dia tak akan lecah. Because why? Because it's cavities, the cavity system. No matter how much water you spray on the materials, it will go on the tiles and out to the floor trap. And then of course the floor trap tu dia masuklah dekat dalam manhole ke apa. So that's the metaphor. That's the cavity, the simplest cavity system that we use in our public toilets. Kalau tak tahu, pergilah dekat Plaza Tol. Alright, that's all for this basement part 3. Thank you, because this is just a bit of balance of basement. So if you have questions, please ask me on the classroom stream. Other topic as well. With that, I end this slides. Thank you. Bye-bye.